My apologies, my Teaserking family. I don't know what happened. It was a YouTube thing, and I don't know if I lost the feed or not. It did come back, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to teach for 2 hours, and it's not a good video. So, but I know a lot of you, if you can't join live, will watch it after, and I don't want anybody to watch it blank. So we were just only 10 minutes in, so I will recap what I did. So again, hello. Hope you're well. Hope you have a nice weekend. You're healthy. You're avoiding your sugars and your carbs, and have a fun day today. Fun weekend. Okay. So let's get to. I went to the gold store yesterday. Apologize to repeat this, but I'm acting as if it's a new one. So he didn't have. I took $300 to buy silver. My little weekly allowance for, when I get paid, it's the gold, and the other week it's the silver, and then I get paid next Thursday or Friday, and I got to cover rent there, so it's a smaller expense. But then the middle pay of the month's the gold purchase, because I get a lot of money and I don't have too much expense because I pay the rent with the first one. So enough of that. So I got most of my money in the safe that isn't baseball cards and gold and silver. And if I take 300, I'm going to buy 10 ounces. I got a lot of silver. I'm like, I don't really need more, but I want to buy something because I can buy it at $28 an ounce. It's worth $2,000. So it's a no-brainer. I keep thinking of other people's money. When Danny DeVito goes to the mill and he goes, I can buy a $25 stock for $10. And that's exactly what I go by when I buy gold and silver. I can buy a $2,000 ounce of silver for $28. And that's why I keep going back for more. It's like I'm at a buffet. Oh, another steak. Oh, more ribs. Oh, okay. And it's free. You keep eating. So I get to the guy's store, and he's got two Maple Leaf quarter ouncers, two Maple Leaf 1/10 of an ounce. He's got a 33, like instead of a quarter ounce, he had a 0.33 ounce Swiss bar. And then he had 2 or 3 Maple Leaf ounces, 2 or 3 US dollar Eagle ounces. And I asked him for the price. So I was going to buy the 10. So I got 300. I'm going to buy the silver. But I don't like what he's got. The Liberties are 35. Why do I want to buy those? I've got a couple hundred of them, but why do I want to buy any more of them? Why pay 35 for an ounce of silver when I can pay 28 for an ounce of silver? But I didn't like what he had. He had some like Year of the Rabbit silver, which I'm like, what do I care? I think it's Chinese anyway. And then I didn't see the buffaloes, and I don't mind the buffaloes. I don't mind if that was all he had. If he had no gold, I would have bought 8 of the Eagles, the actual dollar silver coins. And as I said, they're more expensive because they come from the U.S. Mint. The others are coming from the mints of licensed people. So licensed companies can print bullion. They just can't print dollars. But nobody really prints bullion gold. It's only bullion silver for whatever reason. Probably gold's too expensive. So I end up, how much is the quarter ounce? And it's only, and I know prices are down a little yesterday, which is totally meaningless. And so I go, and he says $5.30 for a quarter ounce gold Maple Leaf. I'm thinking, man, I'm looking at eBay, there's 600. So I'm going, oh yeah, okay, $5.30, that's fine. I was expecting 6. So I go, well, I got 300 here, hit 220, 230 on the credit card, the debit card, which he did. And I had the money in the bank, but it was like, okay, that's for different things. Where the gold and silver I usually take out of the safe or my paycheck. So I figured, okay, this is still part of the paycheck. So I took that money out. So I hit the debit card with it. And since I paid 300, he didn't charge me the 3%, which was nice. So got the quarter ounce maple leaf. So I was really happy with that. Because it was unexpected. I wasn't going to buy gold. This was the silver purchase. This was 10 silver buffaloes at 28 a shot, 280. I got 300, and off I go. So to get my gold and silver fix. So anyway, so I got that. And so he had Liberties, but he didn't have silver. And he's charging more for 2023s, which I don't know why. Who gives a fuck? We're not buying them as collectibles. We're buying them as silver. We're buying them as we want gold and silver. That's why we're buying. We don't care if it's MS 70 or proof or anything else. Why pay more for it? We know we're going to make a ton once it goes. So I do see all the gold he's got is from somebody coming in and selling it. I assume somebody from Canada came, crossed the border, and sold him 8 quarter ounces and 8/10 of an ounces and some ounces. Gets the US dollar instead of the Canadian dollar. So he's a happy camper. And I get a cheaper price on gold because it's Canadian versus dollar. It's still gold. It doesn't matter. This is the thing people don't understand. It's yeah, I know there's some like hockey cards. There's a Martin Brodeur rookie out of Score, 1990, I believe. There's a Canadian and an American, and the Canadian version has a little bit more price to it than the American, simply because supposedly there was so they made 1 million of the Americans and 900,000 Canadians, I guess. I don't know. So sometimes you'll see like Gretzky OPC versus Tops, and the OPC tends to be worth more. But generally, they're differentiating the supply. But in this case, there's no differentiation in supply. Gold's gold. We're looking at not U.S. gold, not Canadian gold. We're looking at gold in the world. So let's say there's 100,000 tons in the world. That's what we're looking at is the world supply. And we know China's got 60,000 of those tons and Russia 20,000 of the tons. So we're all battling the other 20,000 tons. And the central banks probably have 15 of it. So we get these. So we're not getting new gold. We're getting sold gold. So the Canadians come across the border to Detroit. They come here. They sell it. They get US dollars. They're happy. Although they're going to be really upset once they realize that they just sold probably got $450 for a quarter ounce of gold that they're going to get when it hits 50,000. It'll be worth, let's say 40,000 would be worth 10,000, which they just sold for 400. So wait till that happens. But that's when the guy gets gold. He doesn't order it unless I did an order. So if I brought in my 20,000 from my IRA and I said, here, I want 10 ounces of gold, then he would make an order for me, I guess. And then he'd probably order a little bit more for other people. So if I ordered the 10, he would order it from the men or whoever. And then he'd probably get 20 for other people in the store as long as he's doing the order. And anyway, So that's what's happening with the guy. So he's the only inventory of gold he gets is when somebody comes in and sells it. And I feel bad for the people selling it. They have no idea. They obviously didn't buy it knowing what they're doing. And that's really a shame because that's the problem. You should know what you're doing before you do anything. Playing craps, playing poker, investing in stocks, any of that, you should know what you're doing before you do it. You should study and learn. So that's why people, like you'll say, learn before you do it. That's why I have such a wide range of skill sets. So we can talk football and baseball. We can talk poker. We can talk women. We can talk economics, Say's Law, Adam Smith, Keynesian, communist, gold, silver. We can talk all these because I learn them before I do them. So you'll never hear me talk about something I really don't know much about, but I do talk about the things I do know. So I'm expert in my field of what I talk about. But if you wanted to bring up law, I don't know. The health, I listen to the Dr. Enberg, but I learn what he's saying. So I sort of smell what he's cooking, and then I can tell you guys, but not as me being the doctor, as me saying, recommending, go to this channel, or this is what he's saying. Or I can interpret Alligator and Andrew Maguire and all these other idiots. I can interpret what they're saying. And that's why I get upset, because they don't know what they're talking about. But I know they don't know. I know they don't know what they're talking about, but they don't know. They're trying to tell us, Andy Schechtman, people are buying. He doesn't understand it. Okay, we get people are buying. You don't have to repeat it 75 times. We get it. But until you start talking about COMEX blowing up and the price going up, it doesn't mean anything. We don't care how many people have bought or if it's gone. Tell us when JP Morgan's going to blow up. Tell me about BRICS. Tell me something you haven't told me 150 times. Tell me about inflation, which you don't know anything about. You think it's prices. You quote some guy about Austrian economics, but you don't even know what you're saying. You're quoting some law, but you don't know what you're saying. If I quote Say's Law, I tell you exactly what it means. Supply creates demand. We're supply. We go get a job. We go make money. We then go buy things. And people people produce so we can consume, to put it in English. So I take my money and I went and bought gold with it. I could have went to buy tennis shoes with it. I could have went and bought golf clubs with it. I went and bought gold with it. That's Say's Law. You don't know what I'm going to buy, but there's a lot of companies out there who are having it. And that's fine. And that's what I do, right? And that's really the point that I try to make is I can explain Say's Law, but when they quote something, they don't know how to explain it. So they hear something, I don't know, you might quote Keynesian, and then they can't explain it. So there's one thing they quote, they don't know what it is. I don't know if I've heard of it or just forgot it, but it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything what they're trying to quote us. Some law of economics, but they don't know what it is and they don't know how to explain it. So you just sit there and go, that's nice that you've learned a thing that you probably went online going, give me some Austrian economic laws. And then they just regurgitate them, but they don't know what they're talking about. So that's what I point out. Anyway, so I was watching this YouTube this morning about gold and silver in the Eurozone. Berlin, France, Spain, all the countries in the Euro. So there's like 15 countries or 20 countries that make up the Eurozone that they use the euro. And there's no tax on gold, but if you buy silver, and I'm not sure if it's bullion or the actual dollar, there's a tax. There's a 19% VAT, value added tax. I love that one. Oh, you want to buy silver? We're going to tax you on silver. It's fucking money. How can you tax me on money? But gold, there's no tax, but on silver. So what are they saying? They either don't want you to buy silver, or they know everybody's jumping to silver and they want to somehow make money on it. Hey, Bobby Bo, you just ate some kimchi. Oh, I don't know what kimchi, what kind of animal is that? It has many health benefits. I'm sure it does if you're eating it. What is it? So anyway, so in Berlin, if Bobby wanted to buy his Eagles or his silver in Berlin, they would charge him the premium. So let's say it's our guy in Berlin, $24. He marks it up to 28. He then adds a 19, let's call it a 20% VAT. Well, 20% on 28 is 560 more. So he's going to pay 33.60 for his silver bullion in the Eurozone because of this tax, which is totally ridiculous. I've never heard of taxing money. Although if you try to get euros, as I did in Barcelona, fucking it was 300 euros, which should have been $1.10 exchange rate. Should have cost me $3.30 plus whatever fees. So let's say $3.35, cost me $3.60. The bastards charged me $1.20 for an item that's $1.08. So I assume there's a big FX exchange rate. So you got to be careful in Europe with that. And the only reason I got euros was because this idiot that we were with, kept wanting to do things. And then okay, can you pay me back? No, I can't. But he lived in Germany. So for him to have euros is not a problem. He probably got paid in them. But for me, I'm like, I don't want to keep spending $360 to get 300 euros to give you 200 euros. Fuck you. I use my debit card. And it's just how stupid these people are. So anyway, if you're in the Eurozone, gold, there's probably a premium from the guy, but no tax. But now they're taxing that. Hello, Kenzie. How are you today? It's like a Korean cabbage. You eat it raw. I think I've heard kimchi is a cabbage. Well, can't you put it in in my ginger tea? Kenzie is here. We don't know which Kenzie, but we'll assume it's Kenzie Reese. I was wondering where she got the name from, and then I was watching. I was watching a movie, and Keanu Reeves was in it, and that's where the light bulb went on. That's what she's doing. He's a fan of Keanu Reeves, so she takes the Reeves, and instead of Keanu, it's Kenzie. I always wonder how these girls and actors and everything get their names, because they're not real. And so, it's funny they pick it. So anyway, so now I got a feeling how she picked it. By the way, I've been having pain and tightness in my left hamstring. You ever have that before? And will fasting help? Fasting helps everything, Bobby. I did when my back was bothering me. So when my back was hurting, my hamstrings were tightening up. Now it didn't go down past the knee, but my hamstrings were. It depends. Do you have pain in your back? Is it a nerve? Fasting won't help the nerves. You got to stretch the nerve out. That's what I did with my back. I eventually stretched it out in the pool and ran in the pool, and it loosened up, and now I'm virtually fine with my back. I don't have too much pain. Once in a while, if I do a long walk, I have a pain, and I really can't stand like for 5 minutes. So if I'm talking to you, we're at a park and I'm talking to you, I have to sit. If I stand for 5 minutes and talk, my back tightens up. It's too much. I talk to Irina a lot, and she's got the newborn, and she said my back's bothering me, picking up the baby. And then I said, well, wait till he's 4 years old. I remember Ashley when she was 4, my daughter. We were at Cedar Point or Niagara Falls, and she wanted me to carry her. Well, she wasn't like a 1-year-old weighing 20 pounds. She probably weighed 40, 50 pounds. And like an idiot, I got her on my neck, and I wonder why and my back starts hurting me. So I wonder why my back hurts me now. So just be careful. But I don't know, Bobby. Is it a nerve? If it's a nerve, there's nothing that the fasting will help you with. But, if you pull the hamstring, I'm sure fasting you can try. Do the 44-hour fast. Just skip eating tomorrow or Monday. So eat Sunday. It's a nice day. Then Monday, don't eat. And then eat Tuesday at lunch and see if it helps. So I don't know if mine was a nerve from my back. So it didn't help. But my feet, the gout, it definitely helped. I'm starting my fast tomorrow and looking forward to it. You'll be excited by it. Don't think I can't eat. Think this is good. The little guy will clean me up. That's what you've got to look at. That's how you have to look at it. You can't look at it, oh, I can't. This is like eating the dark chocolate, right? You can't sit there and go, oh, I can't eat it. I can't eat Kit Kat and Oreos and M&Ms. It's, oh, I want chocolate. I'll go. I went to Walmart yesterday. I'll show you the brand I got. I just read the following on Google, Professor. So I get this at Walmart. It's premium Swiss chocolate, so it's not like it is, but it's from Sam. But it's got 90% cocoa, which is extremely healthy for you. And there's only 9 grams of carb. There's only 3 sugars. When do you see 3 sugars in a chocolate? And again, we don't care about calories, and we don't care about fat. We only care about carbs and sugars. Only 9 grams per 3 squares. And I thought it was Swiss chocolate, premium European chocolate. So this is basically Sam's Club buying bulk, and then there's $2. All my other ones are like $3.50 now. So when I go, I get like 5 of them because I'm not really that close to a Walmart. So when I go to the lake, there's a Walmart nearby. So I get this. I get my avocados at 80 cents. Although the meat I only buy at my meat grocery store, which is actually more expensive, but the meat's actually better and cheaper there. I got, you ever hear of this? So I went to get a red snapper. It was like $10 a pound. I said, oh, great. Let me get a red snapper. And the guy had them whole. I said, okay, can you cut the head off? And I just want the meat like when I get the salmon. He says, we can't. What the fuck? You can't cut that. What am I? A, I'm paying for the head because I'm paying for the weight. But B, what am I going to do? I'm not going to eat it. The only place I ever got a fish at a dinner was in the Ukraine. I was with Jenna. We're in Odessa. We go to this beautiful restaurant out of the middle of nowhere, obviously run by the mafia. All the stainless steel countertops and ovens and everything. And I get a fish, and it comes whole. And what you do is you cut the head off, and then you cut it in half. I think you cut the belly, and then you open it up, and then you take the meat out of it. And there's the bones, and there's the head, and you eat the meat. And I've only seen it there, and it tasted fine. It was good, and it was a nice restaurant. I think I have pictures of it. And let me show you a picture. But they just serve you the fish just dead on. Let's see. This is the restaurant. You can see, look how nice it is. This is in Odessa, right? Like, look at this, the stainless steel and everything. Beautiful restaurant. Yours truly in the Black Sea behind me. And then there's this shot of it. But out of nowhere, this nice restaurant is there. And I love the way it is in Europe with the fish. So when you go in, this is, look at these fish they got on ice, and that's what they serve you. And they got all this fish. So it's just how different in Europe. That's how the grocery stores are too. You go to the grocery store and the fish is just like this. It's just full. Like normally when you go to the grocery store here, the salmon's already cut up and the whitefish and the cod or whatever. But for some reason, the orange roughy or the red snapper, which I wanted, and it was nice and pink, but how am I going to cook it? And then I got to cut the head off of the poor thing. So anyway, all right, Bobby, just read on Google, nerve regeneration and repair. Intermittent fasting may help heal nerve damage. Well, that's what I've been telling you. So how come when I say it, it doesn't count, but when somebody else says it, we believe it? That's just funny how it works. Intermittent fasting may help heal nerve damage by changing the gut micro. No, it's the little guy inside of you who's fixing you. Intermittent fasting alters the gut bacteria activity of mice and increases their ability to recover. Well, and the professor who does it, who recovers, that's what I tell you, my feet get better. Just go to Dr. Stan. He's got it all. He's got it all nice and neat at a 5-year-old level of here's what we have, here's what it fixes, da 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 da. I hope you watched the one on the what is it? The one I just showed you. Cholesterol one. He's got all over. And just get rid of the sugar and the carbs and fast and let your body heal. Your body, you break your arm and your leg, the body heals it. So think about it. If I got other problems and I get out of the body's way, it's going to heal everything. The only reason people have cancer and heart attacks and stuff like that is because they have too much sugar in them. That's why I don't drink and I don't smoke, because I'm looking into the future. I don't need to smoke and I don't need to drink. That's what I got the girls for. So I don't need that, and it's not good for you, right? It's going to hurt you. So why do it? Jenna won't listen. She shows me a drink, and then an hour later says, "Oh, I got to take a pill. I don't feel good." Well, I'm telling you, I don't know what to do with her. She won't. She keeps drinking. Anyway, so as I was talking, so in the Euro sector, if you buy silver, they add a 19% VAT. So why are they doing that? There's two reasons. When prices go up, demand drops, or they know everybody's going to run into silver because it's cheaper than gold, and they want their cut. I think it's the second reason, because I don't think raising it $5 an ounce at these prices is going to really stop anybody. So I think they want their cut. But that's why there's a big cigarette tax, is so people will stop smoking. That's the way instead of making it illegal, they negotiate with the southern farmers saying, okay, you can still do it. It's a legal product. We'll keep the product legal. We're just going to tax the hell out of it, which does slow sales. That's how Say's Law works, right? You want to smoke cigarettes, but because you want to smoke, we're going to raise the price. So you're going to substitute. Maybe you go to a different brand. Maybe you go to a pipe. Maybe you go to a cigar. Maybe you go to marijuana. Whatever it is, will you go more to liquor? There's always a repercussion. If people want something and you make it too expensive, you substitute it out. So if you make cigarettes so expensive, you're cutting out something else. So if you continue to buy the cigarettes, then you're not eating something or you're not spending, you only have so much money. So if it's, you got to spend more on cigarettes, then that leaves you less for other activities. What you choose to not spend it on is that. Maybe crime goes up. You say, fuck, I need to steal to get more money for my cigarettes. That's another repercussion. In silver, I assume they want to get their cut, which is really strange. It's money. How you just put a VAT on it, I don't know. Now, what do? You don't buy it in the European Union country. You go to the Ukraine and buy it, or you go to Switzerland and buy it. I don't think. No, they have the Swiss franc. Switzerland does not have the euro, so they are not in the EU. So if I'm in Germany, how far is it to get to Switzerland? Not very far. I would go to Switzerland and take $1,000 and buy a bunch of silver and do that once a month. And then I don't pay the VAT. And then the European Union has hurt their own business by making it expensive and people running to that. I know living in the US, Canada, with all their inflation and their high prices, my cousins who live in Toronto would drive to Buffalo, which is a half hour away, and do all their shopping and brag about it. On Sundays, we go to Buffalo and shop, and we save so much money doing it. See, there's always repercussions when you do things out of market. That's what the invisible hand's for. Let it go. But when you start fucking around with it and raising these taxes, people will substitute. We are very smart, especially when it comes to money. We'll go, I'll go to Switzerland and buy my silver. Or they're coming over from Canada to give their gold to this guy near me. That's where all these Canadian quarters and dimes and ounces are coming from. So, Bobby, I bought a quarter ounce yesterday. The story was I went to buy silver. I took $300 to buy 10 ounces of silver. They didn't really have good rounds. I didn't want to pay 35, but they had the Canadian tenth of an ounce and quarter of an ounce. Quarter of an ounce was only $3.40 or $5.40. I had 300, so I put $2.40 on my debit card, which is fine. And so I got another quarter ounce of gold, which I was really happy. If push comes to shove, I'd much rather have, well, at this point, I'd much rather have gold than silver. However, in the long run, I'd have been better off with the 10 silver because that will be traded for 1 ounce of gold, but you've got to really understand and see it. The reason it's going to be is because it should go to 10 to 1, meaning if gold is 10,000, silver should be 1,000 an ounce because it should be 10 to 1 is the real ratio of gold to silver. But it's at 85 to 1. So we know it's going to go to 10 to 1 once it goes free market. And when that happens, my 10 ounces I could have bought for, $280 yesterday, I could have turned into 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand by saying, here, give me that. I was reading comments in one of our, I think in Andrew McGuire's yesterday about somebody, they were talking about trading gold and silver. It was the worst. Don't waste your time with Andrew McGuire yesterday. It was the worst show. He had a weatherman and somebody else showing trend analysis on charts for gold and silver. How the fuck do you do that when it's price fixed? You can't. Why are you having weathermen and people who are doing charts on your show? How does that add any value to people like me watching the show for Andrew McGuire, his high-level economics that I can understand, and you put these idiots on? And they still didn't get the paper gold or the physical gold. It's not in your chart. You can't measure it. It says New England, and here's Brady. Oh, Brady's now on Tampa. We can't use the Brady, and they cannot understand that concept, that you cannot use New England's trends that you used in 2008, because guess what? Brady ain't there anymore. So it just blows my mind. So in the comments section, I will show you the comments I love, because I got balls, and you all know that.
Warning. you could soon lose your job because of what's happening inside this building you see behind me. Reasons why. I mean, these crosses.
All right. This is my comment to Andrew McGuire yesterday. I'll leave it on for a few seconds to read, and then I will read it. So you can see, I'm doing this so you can see that I'm leaving the comment when I say it is. And here's what I said. I wish you would have me on as your guest. Per se to Bobby going, you should tell them. I will look for it there. I would blow away all your guests combined. Seriously, technical analysis and no mention of how COMEX keeps the gold and silver price fixed, which is why charts and trends don't work. They only work in the real world of Adam Smith, not a price fixed one. Terrible show today, a waste of time. You keep saying popular demand for these guests. Stop lying. None of your guests are any good or even economists, just salesmen who are clueless. And I leave it the professor. So I'm challenging them to have me on, but they don't have the balls to have somebody like me on because I'm a wild card. Because I speak my mind. I replied to somebody. Well, here in Germany, you pay a 25% minimum on silver. Let me read it. In Germany, you pay 25% premium on silver to play the ratio. Isn't that profitable? It isn't that. Well, yeah, 25% premium, but again, they don't get it. They're not looking at the real price. Now, here's a guy. How can you chart gold and silver and forecast the same when you know the figures are manipulated? Surely no one can predict on figures like that. Exactly. Which is my whole point to everybody and to myself. Is that's what he's that's the whole point of it, right? You're doing charts. This is what happened in 08 when it collapsed. So therefore this is going to happen now. These people are a bunch of idiots. Do you drink at the casino or when watching football? Yeah, I'll tend to have not alcohol. I'll tend to have if I'm playing poker, I'll have like a Diet Coke. If I'm watching football at Caesar's Palace, I'll have a pop or a ginger ale. At home, I'm having tea and coffee and water and stuff like that. I seem to be having a little bit of a problem with Diet Coke right now, so I'm not having it. But that's all I have. As you can see, this was bought in 1997, 12-year-old, and I still have the top on it. So I bought that because I worked there and I kind of had to, but I very loyal to them and I like them. The difference between working at Canadian Club and anywhere else is they treated you as a customer. So they looked at me as somebody who's going to buy there. So they were very friendly to you, very nice to you, which is the way all companies should be. When I left Ford, do you think I'm running to buy a Ford? I mean, they were terribly run. Now I'm at Harley, yeah, but I don't drive motorcycles, so I could get a discount on a Harley. Mercedes, I definitely will buy one of those, but I'm going to wait and buy it with my gold. It's just too expensive. So I'm always doing Save's Law. I'm always, what do I want to spend? Okay, so here's a story. I went and got my hair cut a couple weeks ago now. And I went to this Lady Jane's, which is a little chain. You did financial analysis at Canadian. Yeah, I've always done financial analysis. I handle the budgets for the other section. What do you call it? Just other operating, travel, office supplies. I then I created a auto T&E system from paper to Oracle. So I worked with IT and we put it up in Oracle. So there's boxes, air, hotel, and then there's each state has different taxes on their liquor. Chicago is different than Detroit, different than Arizona, different than California. So you had to have the right taxes included. And we put the budget in. So I would go to the national sales manager. I used to play golf with him. And golf's a wonderful thing. Sports are a wonderful thing to connect people. So we're golfing on Friday. I get to meet the VP. I get to meet the national sales manager. My boss is there, other people. And yeah, hi, how you doing? Now, I happen to be a very good golfer. So they like me because, I'd make them money. But yeah, I'd shoot in the high 70s. I couldn't get enough birdies. I was a very good putter and a very good chipper. But because I learned how to chip first, my drives didn't go as far. And this was back when you drove the ball 250, not 350. But we would do that, and we had a lot of fun. But so I would go to the salesman. Okay, the guy has a $10,000 budget. He's at 9,900, and we're in July. And then I'd make him aware of it, and then he'd move budget over. So he had a little kitty where he'd have $20,000 of unnamed budget. And then when the people needed it, I'll give Joe 3 more thousand. And then he could tell Joe, that's all you got, cool it. But that's the thing. You always, I've always done that. I've always been into financial analysis. The other thing I did was brand. I did the margins on the brand through this other system. And this is how INFJ I am and how aware I am. I looked at the budget number. So I'm looking at Canadian Club 1 liter, and they have the budget in there and they have the actuals in there. And they were the same. I go, how the fuck could you possibly have 30,000? You're going to sell 1 liters in July, and you actually had 30,000. It is impossible. You could not, in your wildest dreams, hit the number exactly. So I go to my boss, and then we find out they pulled the wrong table. So they didn't pull the actual table. They were pulling the budget table for both sets. So for the budget was fine, but for the actuals, they weren't pulling the actuals. And my boss's boss was a VP, and she liked me because I gave her stock tips. And so I figured out what was wrong, and she just blew her away. He's like, all this time we're having trouble. Boom, you come in and you go, this is the problem. That was the problem. And then I fixed it. So I was well liked there. Unfortunately, they sold the fucking business to 7-Up, or I'd have been there for 20 years. Every time I get a good job, they fucking sell or they go out of business or something. It's unbelievable. Mercedes. Okay. But most of the jobs suck. Most of the managers suck, or you get like Toyota, which the Japanese think the war's still on. So you get a lot of bad jobs. That's why when I get a good one, I'm like, I recognize it's a good job, and I don't want to, Mercedes, I didn't want to leave it. Anyway, but that's what I do. That's what I'm doing here. I'm in charge of 60 projects on spreadsheets. I bring in the actual and then the forecast, and I meet with the managers to go through their, are you going to spend this throughout the year? Are you going to add something or subtract something? It's not difficult at all for me with all my experience. But what I'm finding is there's nobody that wants to work. I don't get it. How are people living now if they don't want to work? How are you getting money? Or are they living in mommy and daddy's basement? I don't understand this at all. I wanted to work. I've been working since I was 16 at the grocery store, but really I started working at 10, betting football games for quarters and making another $20 in the late 60s, early 70s, which was real money. That's what I would do. I was at Farmer Jack's. I was like 17 years old, 18 years old. And I'm giving out football picks. People are coming to me, managers, produce guys. Who do you like here? Who do you like there? And I'm giving them the games. And then we would walk to the phone on a Saturday afternoon for the college scoreboard, because you didn't have cell phones. And 1-800, whatever scores. and you'd go down the list. Oh yeah, we won here. Those are the best times. And here I am at the grocery store, 17 years old, and people are coming up to me for football picks. Now you understand how I got here is the same thing, but the thought process carries on to economics and gold and silver and Mickey Mantle cards and everything else. Bobby. Oh yeah, I've been to Lady Jane here by where I live, Professor, to get a scalp massage. You ever bet or watch golf on you love to play it? Yeah, I love to play it. I never bet on it. I don't think you can bet on golf. I watch the majors, like today the British Open's on, so I'll probably turn that on in a little bit, although I forgot, so I got to remember tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I only watch the majors. Now it's hard. We're going through a whole period of there's no stars. So you had Jack Nicklaus, and then you had Tiger Woods. Now you got nobody. I'm sorry, I can't deal with any of these idiots golfing. This Brooke Koepka, these guys are so stupid. The one thing I learned is you never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger to play golf. You don't want those because those muscles you can't. The whole idea of golf is to swing the club as fast as you can. And by having a light grip and not having big muscles, having smaller muscles, like, maybe a baseball player, but not an Arnold Schwarzenegger. And because it actually slows the swing down. So here's Brooks Koepka, and then now he's been injured for a few years. And I'm like, I'd love to talk to them. If I ever saw the guy at a bar, I'd go up to him like, you're a fucking idiot. And I would go exactly like that. Why are you lifting weights? It's not good for golf to lift weights. I would tell him that to his face. Then I would go, do you have any gold? So I would him, and I think there's another one who's like Rory. That's why he hasn't won in 10 years. He bulked up. Why are you bulking up? Look at Tiger Woods. He bulks up. He's been injured for 15 years. Now he keeps getting in these car accidents, probably with his dates in the car. But he's I never liked him because I didn't like his emotions. When you watch Nicklaus play, he'd be very nice and very calm, very respectful. The game was very much respected. That's why I liked it, right? They'd go and they'd shake hands and good putt. And, you didn't hot dog it. And then Tiger came in and hot dogged it. And he's thumping his wrists. I'm like, dude, this isn't boxing. This isn't football. And I don't like it in football when they run 80 yards down the field to pose in the end zone because they got a sack. What the fuck is that? So I did not like Tiger Woods because he hot dogged. There's no place for it in golf. What the fuck are you doing? Did you see Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, Gary Player do that? Then why the fuck are you doing it? So I never liked that. And then it killed. And then now there's no personality in it at all. There's no good players. There's no Mickey Mantle in baseball, or Bobby, of course. I mean, I don't know half the players. I can't pronounce half the names. I don't really know what the fuck is going on. You can't name a good player. And I look at the Tigers, they have 6 hitters under 200 or under 2.25. What's that? And then all they talk about is OPS, but you don't know what OPS is. On P out, what does it even mean? And it doesn't make any look. What's his batting average and how many RBIs does the guy have? Because all I know is when you got a guy on third and you got then you need the hit. I don't care what his OPS is. It's something to do with your hits, but how many of them are extra base hits? Well, you know what, dude? That's why you have average, home run, and RBIs. Because the only thing that's important is can he hit 300 and how many RBIs does he knock in? And if you just looked at those two stats, and now they're trying to change it all. OPS is 600. Like he's got a 600 batting average, but 600 isn't batting average. It's of his hits, how many are extra base hits? Who gives a fuck? Does he drive in runs? Does he hit home runs? And what's his batting average? But they won't tell you that. So this is where I'm you're just losing me on it. But you don't have the Clemente, the Pete Rose, the Mays, the Mantle. You had okay with Clemens and Bobby and Barry and McGuire and Sosa, and then you fucked that up, and then Ripken. And now you got nobody. Mike Trout, who gives a fuck? I don't like what they're doing with Otani. What are you, fucking pitching the guy and then playing him in the field or DHing him the other days? Are you insane? That doesn't work. How many games under 500 is California? There's no stars. So the point I make is that when Barry would come up, you would stop what you're doing and you would watch. Is he going to hit a home run? When Mickey came up and Willie Mays, you would stop what you're doing to watch the at-bat. There's nobody that now I am going to stop what I'm doing or I'm going to go to the game to see him. We look at that movie, The Natural. I mean, all of a sudden, Robert Redford starts hitting home runs. All of a sudden, the crowd's full. They're coming to see him. But before he was there was 12 people in the crowd. People come out to see it. It's supply and demand. It's always Say's law. If there's a guy star out there, the demand will follow. So I've never been to Comerica Park. I think once or twice. My mom paid. I don't know why. She doesn't like sports. But I think my cousins were in town, so I went with them. But I would never go to Comerica. A, it's too expensive, and B, they don't have a team. The team sucks. If I go downtown, I'm going to MGM to play poker, not to bet sports because their odds are terrible. Anyway, so that's my thing on golf, Bobby. Am I a Tiger fan? Absolutely not. I root for them to lose. I think they're terrible. So I don't know how you would bet golf. It's hard enough betting hockey. I told you my hockey story. I can repeat that. So no, I'm not a Detroit Tiger fan. I'm not a Detroit Lion fan. I like the Pistons when Isaiah was there. And the Red Wings, yeah, you're kind of a Red Wing fan because they won 82 titles in 5 years. So, but that's with Yzerman. I mean, it was such a stacked team. Yzerman, Fedorov, Brett Hull, Luc Robitaille. You brought in Dominik Hasek. So you had so many Hall of Famers on the team. So you got into it then, but they're all short term. Hull was here for 1 or 2 years. We won 1 or 2 cups, and then that was it. So probably more loyal to the Wings and the Pistons, although I can't watch the Pistons now. The problem is the GMs don't know what they're doing in any sport. They don't know how to draft. They don't know how to put a team together, and the coaching's so bad. I can't watch below average teams or sports. So I can't get into the Tigers. They're way below average. I can't get in the Lions. The joke around here is they won 1 playoff game in 1991 with Barry. They beat Dallas, and then Dallas wins 3 Super Bowls, and the Lions have not won a playoff game since. And then I'm laughing because everybody thinks the Lions are going to make the playoffs this year, win the division. And I'm like, yeah, they'll win 4 games. That's it. Because they're going to get injuries, and they don't play injured. So Goff, as soon as Goff gets injured, that'll be, we would have won 11 if Goff played. So I looked at their schedule, and I said, all right, maybe they split with the Bears. Maybe we don't know if they'll split with Green Bay, and they'll probably split with the Vikings. So let's say that's 3 wins. You beat Oakland as 4 wins. That's it. Who else are you going to beat? You got Jacksonville. You've got Dallas. You've got Kansas City. Well, you got the whole West. They're going to lose KC, Denver, and San Diego. Those are 3 losses. You can't handle good quarterbacks because you have no defense. And I looked at their last 8 or 9 wins last year, and it was they beat Green Bay twice, they beat the Bears twice, they beat the Vikings once. That was 5 of their wins, and they beat the Jets, who don't have a quarterback. So they beat Rodgers, but the last game, I don't know how they beat him. Rodgers clearly didn't want to be there. He had a mission to lose. He lost both games to the Lions. They were both fixed. Fields sucked, and then Kirk Cousins was 1-1. So it was really in the division, beating the Bears and Packers twice, which I don't see that happening this year. Again, they have no defense, and they drafted a running back who was at best a third stringer on any. If the let's put it this way: if the Alabama running back played for Georgia, he wouldn't have saw the field. If he played for Texas, he wouldn't have saw the field. If he played for TCU, he wouldn't have seen the field. At Tennessee, he wouldn't have saw the field. So I don't get it. I looked at his stats. He didn't even get 1,000 yards. He caught 20 balls. Oh, well, he'll catch balls out of the backfield. Do you run that offense? Do you throw the ball to the running back? And you lost the running back who got 17 touchdowns for you. Where is that going to come from? How do you replace that? So those are big goal line touchdowns that you are not going to score. So how are you going to win as much? See, people don't understand the whole thing. One of these radio announcers was talking about our running back still prevalent. And you're like, oh my God, how stupid are these fucking radio guys? They just talk to talk just to get reactions. And it's just a waste of my time to listen to the, and I don't even call in because it's not worth my time. You want to win, you have running. Look at Kansas City. They got Pacheco because Chocolate Eclair got hurt. Hopefully Chocolate Eclair's back. If I can see trading Chocolate Eclair, you're waiting for Devlin Cook and Henry to get signed. I mean, those are just steals. I don't understand why. If I'm Kansas City, I'd have taken Henry. If I was the Jets, I'd have taken Henry in a minute, but he's probably too expensive. Or Cook. Why isn't Kansas City taking Cook? What the fuck? Or Cincinnati, why aren't you taking Cook? So I think Cincinnati gets Cook or Henry, and they're all done. They win the Super Bowl. They'll beat the Jets with that. You ain't not stopping Joe Burrow and Henry or Cook and Chase. No chance. But they probably can't afford it because you got to pay Burrow max and you got to pay Chase max. And this is where the game's really hurting is you're paying the receivers too much money. They're too much of a dime a dozen. Well, Chase is a little different, but most of these guys aren't. So anyway, you need a running back to do three things: to score inside the 15, get first downs on 3rd and 1, not pushing your quarterback, and during the drive to get 5-6 yards and keep the chains rolling. So you keep your defense on the bench resting. Because if you don't have a rested defense, you ain't winning the game anyway. It doesn't matter how many points you put up. Look at Dan Fouts, Dan Marino. They'd score in 2 seconds. Yeah, how many playoff games did they win? Besides the first year for Marino, he never got back to the Super Bowl because he never rested his defense, and they never ran the ball. So they get close, and he'd throw 15 interceptions. He'd throw for a lot of yards, but that doesn't win you the game. What wins you the games, being able to run it in for a touchdown and resting my defense wins me the game. So it blows my mind. Oh, we don't need running backs. Now it's going to Fields running for 1,100 yards, and they don't need a running back. What? How many games did they win? 3? You don't win with the running quarterback. How many times has our man Lamar won a playoff game? Once. They're like 1-8 in playoff games with Lamar, and he doesn't even finish the season anymore. He probably won't ever finish the season again on Baltimore. There's a big friction there, so he'll probably, I got a pulled hamstring. This hurts and that. My foot hurts. Like last year, he could have came back. He didn't. Now, if he was, let's say he was on Alabama, and this was college, and Lamar Jackson had his hurt foot, I guarantee he'd have been out there. Saban does not fuck around. You're out there. Look at, I was going to say, look at Tua when he came back to play with the hip. And I still don't believe Tua's hip's better. Bo Jackson couldn't recover from it, and fucking Tua recovered from it. I don't think so. Anyway, so that's what I'm looking at. You pulled me away from gold and silver, Bobby. So anyway, if you buy, so really what you do is you substitute. So we go back to Say's law. and that says, I buy what I want to buy. Oh, I was talking about Lady Jane. So I go get my hair cut at Lady Jane's, and I'm paying $20 for like a year. And then I come in one day and it's 22. Okay. I think she tells me about it. And then 2 months ago, I go in, she doesn't say a word. She cuts my hair and she charges me 25. I'm like, you can't tell me this after the cut. You can tell it to me before the cut, and then I can determine what to do. I can walk out or I can say, okay, it's 25. You cannot tell me after the cut that it's 25. She gets all nervous. I don't tip her. The $3 is that she was supposed to get in a tip. So 22, I gave her 25. I didn't tip her because she lied to me, and it's dishonest business, and I don't stand for it. So I found some other place, and they were 20. And I said, well, I'd like to try it. And I go to the girl. Do you have any experience? She gets offended. So it's one of these strange girls, right? Why are you asking? I've been doing this for 20 years. Relax. I just want somebody with experience to cut my hair. I have nice hair. I want it to look good. I don't want somebody with no experience cutting my hair. So relax. And then I said, well, I was at Lady Jane's, and they went up from 22 to 25, and they didn't tell me, and you're 20. So look at how Say's Law works. I go to the competition, who's 20. And she makes the comment, well, we could raise our price to 25. Well, I mean, they could charge $100 for this candy bar, but nobody will buy it. You can raise your price to 25. You'll have nobody in the store because there'll be another barbershop smart enough to sell it for 20 because the cost are the girls, right? The girls are what, on commission, or, like waitresses, right? So the girls are probably get the commission. So they charge me 20, which then they probably 15 goes to the house. It's funny how girls are like that. They'll do things where, okay, so much goes to the house and I keep the rest. What is in their minds? It's just, fuck, I work. I want to get paid for what I work. I'm not on no commission. So you could raise it to 25 and have no customers, or you could keep it at 20, get all of their customers, and increase your sales dramatically because you're obviously making money at $20 a cut. Meanwhile, Lady Jane's, everybody will leave because there is no difference between a girl at Lady Jane's and a girl at this other, we'll call it Clippers. There's no difference in skill set between the two girls. Why should I pay more for the Lady Jane's at 25 versus this girl at 20? There's no reason. They don't do anything different. They cut the hair. I don't mind this haircut. But one thing I noticed, the new place, they're $8 for a shampoo. Well, fuck it. I can shampoo at home. I shampoo really after I swim. I use their shower and shampoo, and off I go. So she says, well, we could charge whatever we want. And I go, no, you don't understand. Say's Law is I am the market. I control the price, not you. You can put a price out there, but if it's 20, you could put 25, but you're over market. Who's going to come? It's like electric vehicles. It's like $45 ribs. If the market is down here and you're up here, you don't have anybody to buy from you. That is the key thing about business. It's the key thing about everything. Women, poker, football. What's the market? Where is that at? It's the same thing with point spreads in football. And that's what I am very good at, is I know what the market should be, which is the point spread, versus what it is. So when I see New Mexico State at 8.5, should be 14, 15, I jump on it. When I see Army 7 over Lou Monroe, should be at least 14. When I see Utah 9 over Florida, I think that should be 14 about. Now, when I see Texas 35 over Rice, I go, yeah, you're right about that. Then I see others like Michigan 35 over East Carolina. I go, well, that seems a little bit high. Seems a little bit over market. And that's where we get them with our locks, is when I see Georgia at a 52 2 years ago, and we lock them under because there's no fucking way you're putting a 58 up in a Georgia game because they don't score that much. They run the ball and you don't score on their defense. It's like same thing with Iowa, same thing with Illinois, Iowa State. So when I see a 50 in an Iowa State game, I go under. However, then on the other way, when I see a 39 in an Iowa game or a 35, it's again, the market in any game should be at least 40, 41 on the total. So you get these Iowas and you're making them 32, 33. The market's here. Now you're here and I can't bet the under. I'm frozen. But that's what the whole thing is I understand the market. What do women want? I understand the market. Poker, you understand it's the player. It's the risk and reward. What's the market on my pocket ace? I got adult pocket aces. What's my market on it? How much should I bet? What is the market suggesting I bet with aces? I'm first to act versus somebody already made a bet. What's the market on me? Then what should I call or raise? Well, depends on who's the market at the table. That's what you're looking at. And the same thing with girls. What's the market? What do they want? Safety, security, and money. That's what they all want. They want to be able to trust you. They can trust you and you have a little bit of money, you're in like Flint. Even these beautiful Russian, Ukrainian girls, they don't care. Just treat them nice. So that's the market with girls. Now you get some strange ones or girls that just want the money. And then you just, again, well, here's the market. Oh, you want this. Well, I don't have $1 million. So you're over market. So you avoid those girls and you go to the girls who are realistic going, yeah, as long as he's nice to me and he has a little bit of money and has a job and I don't have to support him, then that's fine. So it works that way. All you have to do is figure out the market. So it works for football, for everything. So you go to the grocery store, boom. But with these haircut places, you got to be out of your fucking mind. It's a nothing place. You're a nothing haircutter. They're charging 25, you're competing, and you got a better price at 20. Now, in her mind, we can all set the price to 25. And in my mind, no, you can't. I'm the market. We're the market. So Bobby goes and he gets a scalp massage. So if there's a market price for Bobby's scalp massage, you can say, I'll give you $20 for it. And then they think, well, he's Bobby. I'm going to charge him $100. And Bobby gets up and says, fuck you. I'm not paying $100 for a scalp massage. So that's where the market is. Bobby is the market. Bobby determines how much he's willing to pay for the scalp massage. So part of it comes into looks and part of it comes into how good's the massage and part of it comes into how much do I have to pay, and then part of it comes into competition. What do the others charge for a scalp massage? You're no different than the others. And that's how Bobby determines it. But Bobby's the market, not the place. You can't just charge what you want. You have to be cognizant of the market, which is why I push Say's Law, and Adam Smith the way I do, because we're in charge. So then there's this whole Budweiser thing, right? And I don't want to be political, but all of a sudden they do something that people don't like, and everybody's boycotting Anheuser-Busch. It's got nothing to do with the cost because they're all on sale, but nobody buys it because they don't like the brand. How the fuck do you piss off your market? So the market's here and your price is here and you should sell your bud, but nobody wants it. Well, according to Say's Law, there must be, what do I tell you? There must be demand for the market. To have a market, you must have demand. Gold is up here, and what I do, I tell you it's because of demand. The demand for gold is through the roof. All the central banks, the Chinese, Putin, us, we buy gold. There's huge demand for gold. I showed you the Montana card. It's 100,000. I showed you the Rice card, 135. That's demand. That's the critical part if you can have a market. You must have demand to have a market. Okay, Montana card, okay, I can sell it. So I was talking to some lady in the hot tub yesterday, And we were talking about this, of course. I always teach when I can, but I got to know my student. It's the communist. He's not my student, but this lady seemed interested. And I said the Montana card, and she says, "Well, how do you know?" I says, "Because they've been sold for 100,000. So the market spoke and said, I'll buy it for 100. So if I have it, I can sell it, and I know I'm going to get 100 because that's what the market says. That's the pricing. So you go on eBay and you look at what's the Jim Brown card, 119,000 for a PS8 rookie. God knows what a PSA 10 rookie of Jim Brown goes for if he's getting 119 for a PSA 8. Oh my God, it's got to have at least 10 after it. It's got to be $1 million if it's 118 for a PSA 8. So I said, that's the market. I says, once you see activity, so you put it out and people buy it. So that's how you start a market. I'm going to sell this Sam's Choice chocolate, 90. This is $2.12 versus the $3.50 for the Cadbury, I think, and the other ones. They're all Swiss chocolate. And why should I spend $3.50 when I can buy this, which is very, very good, for $1 or $2.12? It was $1.98. So he puts it on the shelf. I buy it. That's our market. I can sell it for that price. He doesn't know he can sell it for more. He doesn't quite understand his competition are the other two candy brands that are 90%, and they're $3.50. So he doesn't quite understand that the market's $3.50 and you're selling it for $2.12. So if I'm working at Walmart's, if I'm running Walmart's, let's say, I'm the CFO, I'm at fucking Target and Myers and Kroger's, and I'm looking at the price of the others at $3.50, and I'm going, fuck, we got to raise this price to maybe $2.75, $3. I know our cost must be like 20 cents a candy bar, but the market is speaking, and that's what you listen to in anything. So that's the whole point of that. So the Budweiser thing is now demand, price. What do you do when the demand is here? How do I sell my beer when I don't have demand? And the answer is you can't. If nobody wants the product, you can't sell it. There is no more product. Anheuser-Busch should close up shop because there's no demand for your beer because you pissed off your customers. The one thing you can't do, you did. This is business. You don't piss your customer off. What other things are we not going to have demand for? Oh, yeah, the dollar. Nobody fucking wants it because you pissed off everybody with your sanctions. And the U.S. is this and that. And you're pissing off all the other people who say, fuck it, we'll just buy gold. We don't need this. Germany says, well, I know you're all going to run this over, so we're going to tax it so we can get our cut of it as we go broke because we're also inflating our money. That's the ironic part. Instead of Germany just buying gold and silver, what do? They tax the silver when you're buying it, but it's such a small tax. So it'll cost you 30 euros instead of 20. Well, instead of costing you 26. No, I think that's right. So $26 is like 24 euros. So you add the premium, you're at 27, 28, and then this other 20% VAT. So let's say it's $32. That's not going to stop people from buying it. So you get your 5, but you're not stopping people from going to Switzerland, getting in their car, driving to Switzerland, going to Egon's bank and saying, give me 1,000 euros worth of silver. Well, I don't know how you would do that because you'd have to exchange your money into Swiss francs. So that would hurt it because you have to do the exchange. But that's the idea is I don't want dollars anymore. So what they're doing with this is what Budweiser did. Budweiser pissed off their customers, so there's no demand. The U.S. pissed off their customers, so there's no demand. Oops. That's why we're buying gold and silver, because we can see what's happening. It's the same thing with Budweiser. It's the dollar, right? Nobody wants it. They're inflating it, so there's no value in it anyway. It's just paper. There's no value in any of the paper monies. This is what people are being like a magic act, right? This is a magic act. This is David Blaine. I'm gonna pull I'm gonna pull a house out of my ass or a car out of my ass. Oh, he did it. Oh my God, but he doesn't tell you the trick. But that's the same thing. Oh, money has a value. This really is worth $1. Well, it's worth 20 cents now. But it really has a value because look, it's got a president on it. It's got a 1 on it. So it's obviously worth something. Look, because it has a president and a 1, it's actually worth $1. And that's the magic trick. It ain't worth shit. That's why we buy assets. That's why we buy Montana cards. That's why we buy Rolexes and we buy gold and silver, because they have value. We know a real asset has demand and that therefore has value. And that is what we do. And the Lady Janes and the haircut and the ribs and all the things I bring up, again, it's market. Lady Janes went to 25. I left more because you were dishonest with me. You didn't tell me up front. She says, I thought you knew. Well, you just made the change. Maybe I was in before you made the change last time because I come every 5 or 6 weeks and now I'm here, but you knew it's a new thing and you're going to piss people off if you can't tell them after. So if I go buy ribs, if I go to the restaurant and I don't look at the menu and they raise the price on them and I get the bill and it's $10 more, I'd pay, but I wouldn't come back because I said, well, why didn't you tell me there was a price increase? Your menu still has $25 for the slab of ribs, but now you're charging me $35. You got to change your menu. And I've done that at grocery stores where the sticker will say $2 and then I get charged $5 and I go, you overpriced me. And there's a law in Michigan, I get like 10%, so I get like $10 because you overpriced me. You've got to sell it for what the price says. Now at Lady Jane's, the board did change to 25, but why would I look at the board? I come in there every 5-6 weeks. And if you're gonna change it, and you're my hair cutter, you sure as fuck better tell me that from one time to the other. But again, that's the market. I'm the market, not them. If you want to sell it for 25, that's up to me to buy it or not. I'll shop around. I found it for 20. It's fine. My haircut's fine. Okay, so I'm paying 20 for the haircut that I paid you 25 for. That's called competition. That's the invisible hand. And now you lost the customer and you lost your $3 in tip that goes directly to you, which is why you're working in the first place. And you multiply it by 100 guys, that's $300 or whatever each week. So it's $1,200 that you can pay your rent and feed your kid and everything. So you just fucked up for no reason. Like I would have hemmed and hawed, but I kind of liked her and I would have said, okay, 25, but I'm not going to give you a $3 tip. I'll give you a $1 tip. Now you're getting too expensive. And I probably would have shopped around anyway. And if I found a place for 20 and you're 25, I'm not going to pay it. But I won't ask for the same lady who cut my hair. She was a total communist. So I'm not going to give her my business or my time. She was so offended that I asked her if she cut hair before. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, so what we have is we're waiting for COMEX to blow up. We're waiting for this Russian BRICS thing to, okay, here we go with the dollar. They want to get out of the U.S. And not only that, but the U.S. is blowing up their own dollar anyway. They're inflating it. It's going to go to zero. But see, when you listen to the Keynesians, they don't know what they're doing. So they think, well, we'll just keep printing more money. Then I read something on why hasn't there been a recession yet? Well, there has. We're in a recession. But if they don't say it, then it's not true, I guess. Well, I just read where they're laying off people. Ford and GM's earnings are tanking. They're laying off people. What the fuck do you call it? All the IT, Silicon Valley's laying off, Tesla's laying off. For all the car companies should be laying off. They're not making any money. The banks are all. I think in July you'll start seeing more banks go under because I think it's a quarterly thing. So the banks, as theirs mature, it depends. Now, if I'm a bank, I don't want long-term bonds. I don't want 10-year bonds. The problem is they were trapped. So if I'm giving Bobby, he gives me $1 million, I'm giving him 3%, right, for his money. But if I can't get 3% in a bond, I got to go out 10 years to make 5% to give him his 3%. That's really what the problem was. As they're raising rates, I got to get better interest, but I'm fucked because I'm in 10-year bonds to get a high enough rate because I can't get money anywhere because I'm too stupid to buy gold. Now I read something about why the recession hasn't started yet, or why companies aren't in bad shape, and it was like, well, a lot of their long-term debt was in high rates. Well, you gotta understand, long-term debt is like paying for the building. You bought a new equipment. I don't know, so really your long-term, the only thing you'd have long-term debt for is borrowing money to start the business, which is usually short-term, paying for the factory. So you're a GM, you got the big plant, you got all the equipment. That's all long-term. So they're trying to say, well, that's because they're long-term, their debt, that it hasn't come due yet. So even though they're at 1 or 2% on it, and now the interest rates are 5 and 6, they haven't had to redo their financing to the 5 and 6. So therefore they're not losing money, and because of the interest rates. And I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. What do you mean? The banks are different because they got to pay Bobby the 3%. So therefore they must put it in longer term rates, but then as the rates go up, the price of the bond goes down, and now they're losing money. If I paid 90 for something that's worth 80, I'm fucked if I have to sell it now. Or I can wait 10 years, but I need the money to pay Bobby's interest. So the fact these companies they're trying to explain it as short-term rates, long-term rates, and the short-term rates. Now, there's one thing that I've read to you before that I'll just reiterate. When you have an inverted yield curve, meaning the short-term rates are higher than the long-term rates, you have a recession 100% of the time. They're trying to say, well, not this time. And I'm trying to say every time, because you have to pay more now. So you're locked in at 1% and the rates went up to 3%. How the fuck are you not? You see, recession is when the economy slows because prices go up, right? Look at Lady Jane's it went to 25, but I substituted out to 20. If this goes to $20 a bar, I don't buy it, or I buy one bar, or I just say, you know what, I'm not going to have the dark chocolate 90 in a candy bar. I'll do it some other way. But they're basing it on market, right? So if I make this $10 a bar and nobody buys it, I'm fucked because I can't sell it. I can't make my profit. So I have to be at market. That's why you don't see these at $10, $20 a bar, because nobody's going to buy it, because we're the fucking market and we're saying, no, that's too expensive. I know what I'm going to pay for this. So when they talk about so the inverted yield curve is just interest rates. So it's 4% now and it's 2% in 10 years. That doesn't make any sense. The longer I hold the money, the more risk, the more interest rate I should get. So if it's 2% now, it should be 5% if I hold them for 10 years. Not 5% now and 2% in 10 years. Well, why go out 10 years for anything? I'll just do 2 years and get 5%. So that's what you would do. So you would never go out long term. But on the other hand, you would then borrow at 2%. But now if I need new financing, it's 5%. That's why I told my old company, you'll be broke by March, because they probably don't have any money, and they probably have a line of credit from the bank, and the bank, what are they going to do? The Fed raised their rates. They're going to raise the rates to the company. So the company's earnings just got cut in half because they were probably getting 1% on their money, and they're now paying 5% on their money. I don't know how big a company they were. Let's say they were 20 million. Well, okay, at 1%, now it's 5%. You just got fucked in the ass pretty good. So that was my point to the CFO, but it went over his head, I'm sure. I'm sure he's clueless about gold. I'm sure he's clueless about economics. He doesn't buy a computer system. He doesn't understand anything about Adam Smith or what's the term I'm looking for? Different skill sets. There's a word for it. Damn it. Anyway, he doesn't really get that. So anyway, again, Budweiser, there's no market. You've got to get out of the game or find a way to get your market back. But what the problem is now, these people are, let's say, going to Miller Lite or Heineken or Lowenbrau or the one with the lime from Mexico. I can't think of it. Corona. So you're getting away from Bud into these other beers, and you're not coming back. Budweiser needs to close down. They fucked themselves really good. And the next customer doing that is Disney. They come out with these really stupid movies. Nobody watches, but they cost them money. Nobody's going to their theme parks. So if you own Disney stock, get the fuck out now. But what I'm trying to teach you is, as you see these things, as these companies come out with this woke bullshit, and you see them, and you see demand dropping and the market going out, get out of them. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to lose money, and eventually they'll be broke because they still have a lot of costs. But if you don't have sales, that's my whole point about this at the grocery store. If you market $10, it'll sit on the shelves. Well, wait, they need the sales to stay in business. That's why they keep the price at $2, because they need, if we get our sales at that, we're fine. And that's exactly what they're doing. And again, this is European. I think it's Swiss. I thought it was Swiss, premium European chocolate. Yeah. Chocolate bar is exclusively crafted in Switzerland from a premium blend of ingredients. See, as long as it's Swiss chocolate or the Swiss bankings or Egon, I'm happy about that. So I'm helping Switzerland's economy with this. It's probably the same as the other. They just slip Sam's Choice on the layer, so they probably keep it. It's like these other cans. There's the Del Monte, and then there's the no brand, and so they mark Del Monte at a premium and the no brand cheaper, so it covers both markets. That's what they're doing here. If you want to go to, but they only sell it at Walmart. So if you want to go to Walmart and get it $2 cheaper, you go there. Otherwise, if you're at the other grocery stores like Meijer or whatever, Target, you pay more for the premium brand, but it's all the same. What was I going to say? It's division of labor. That's what I was going to say. All right, let's look at baseball. We have 2 locks going today. I'll give you those right off the shoot. We got Scherzer for the Mets. Bobby, you playing for the Mets today? I got to know if I should bet them. So let's see. All right, the Yankees 1-0 over KC in the second, Colorado, Miami in the second. Upcoming, so let's go through these. It's 2:20, it's 1:30. So you got an hour for these. We got St. Louis and the Cubbies. McCullough, 6-5, 4-1-4 against Michael Fulmer, who used to be on the Mets. The Tigers get him. Hurts his elbow. Now he sucks. Why he's on the Cubs, I don't know. He's 1-5 with a 4.43 ERA. What's the point? See, once they hurt their elbow and they're pitching, just they're gone. It's like a running back, or it's like a football player hurts his knee, but it's a real bad injury. They're fucked. The Dodgers in Texas, we got Bobby Miller, 5-1 with a 4.25 ERA against Dane Downing, 8-2 with a 2.82. I got to take Texas here with an 8-2 with a 2.82 against a 4.25. So let's take Texas here. Toronto and Seattle. Kevin Gausman for Toronto. He's good. 7-5 with a 3.03 against Logan Gilbert. 8-5 with a 3.65. I'm going under. Over under 7.5. We're going to go under there. I don't know. Arizona, Cincinnati had pitchers, and now they don't have pitchers. So I don't know what happened there. Baltimore, Tampa. Here's our first lock. Grayson Rodriguez, 2-2 with a 7.33 against Shane McClanahan, 11-1 with a 2.56. This is going to be, let's call this a 20-star lock. You got the perfect lock, McClanahan, but look at Grayson Rodriguez, 2-2 with a 7.33 ERA. It's perfect. Tampa should win by 4 or 5 runs easy. They're not going to hit McClanahan, and they're going to have a field day hitting Rodriguez. So this is exactly what you're looking for when you get the ace against the 5. It's a lock. Take McClanahan. So there's lock 1. San Diego, Detroit, we got Jason Wolf, 0-0 with an 0-0 against Matt Manning, 3-1, the 3.38. San Diego won yesterday 5-4, which I was happy about. This is the problem with Wolf. If you haven't seen him, you don't know what he does, so it's hard to hit him. Manning had that 8-way no-hitter last week, where 8 pitchers came in to get the no-hitter. I don't know. The guy was through 6 with the no-hitter, and you pulled him with 80-some pitches. Like, well, we want to rest him, so when we trade him or let him go free agent, the other team can use him. Again, it makes no sense because really you're letting your players go anyway, so what's the difference if you know, but they're all getting injured. Why are they all getting injured? I heard a story that the pitchers are getting injured because they're playing travel ball. So they're playing in a lot more games, and now they're just trying to throw hard, not pitch. So they're trying to throw 90 miles an hour as a 14-year-old, but they don't know how, and then it ruins their arm. And then when they get here, they're only here because they can throw 95 miles an hour, but their arm's already shot because they've been playing travel ball 80 games a year. That, and if that's what the answer is, I would never have my kid in travel ball. I never played travel ball. I played pony colt. I never played travel ball. You know, I would go practice with my neighbors and everything. So I don't know what to do here. Over under a 10. Let's go under here. Tigers can't hit. San Diego. Let's go under 10. This, you know, Manning, I don't know. How the fuck do you take your starting pitcher as a no-hitter going into the 7th, and you pull him because he pitched 80 pitches? And this manager is not fired? Wow. Who wants to play for this guy? I wouldn't want to. Would you pitch for this guy? Fuck no. San Francisco, Washington. Logan Webb, 8-7 with a 3.11 ERA against Josh Gray, 6-8, 3.59. I love the under here. Over under a 9. Washington can't hit. 2 good pitchers. Let's go under. Philly and Cleveland. We got Zach Wheeler, 7-4 is a 4.04 against Tanner Beebe. I always think of Henry Bibby from the 76ers. 5-2 with a 3.32 ERA. I'm going to go over here. I don't know how good Bibby is, 3.32. Philly can, I don't know. Every time I think Philly can hit, they don't hit. But Philly's a really hard team to figure, but they're 52-45. So let's go over 8. They're a pretty good hitting team. All right, Bobby against the Red Sox. Max Scherzer, 8-3 with a 3.99 against James Paxton, 5-2 at the 3.51. We're locking this game under. And I don't know if Bobby, if you're playing today or not, if you're in Boston, but if you're not, then I'm going under. Over under 9.5. How the fuck do you do an over under 9.5 with Max Scherzer pitching? Boston's not going to. They're not going to hit this guy. And Paxton 5-2 with a 3.51. I don't think the Mets are going to hit this guy. So I know Scherzer's going to probably have a shutout through his 6 or 7 innings. And then there's the Mets. So this is an over. Now, here's where I'm talking market. So let's use this as a market example. When I see Scherzer going against Paxton, my over-under is 8, 7.5. You're not going to hit Scherzer, and then who's the other pitcher? Well, it's Paxton. 5-2 with the 3.51. Well, 3.51. That's a pretty low ERA in today's baseball. So I think they won't. The Mets won't hit him that hard. Boston, it's in Fenway, but if you can't hit the ball, it doesn't matter if you play anywhere. So you can play at a high school stadium. If you can't hit the guy, you can't hit the guy. So my mark's about 8, and it's 9.5. You're over market. You're over under. Why is it 9.5? Because it's at Fenway, but you're not paying attention to Scherzer pitching. Now he's got a 3.99 ERA, but it was like 4.5, and it's been going down. So I think this is a very low scoring game. The market's too high. We're locking the Mets under. We've locked McCullough for Tampa Bay. That's a joke against the 7.99 ERA, and I got McCullough 11-1 with a 2-something ERA. Yeah, I wonder. Baltimore won't get a hit, and Tampa against a 7.99 ERA. I think they'll score like 5 or 6 runs. So there you go. So lock number 2 is we're taking the Scherzer game under. Atlanta, Milwaukee, the Braves, the old Braves against the new Braves. Alan Winions, 0-0 with an 0-0 for Atlanta. Adrian Hauser, 3-2 with a 3.79 for that. Atlanta can hit. I'm going to take Atlanta. I don't know who Winions is. Adrian Hauser, I don't know. Milwaukee's been. Maybe this goes over too because Atlanta can really hit. It's really a very good hitting team. So it's 9.5, but I like Atlanta, although Atlanta's favored, which I'm a little surprised. But let's go with Atlanta. The White Sox and the Twins. The Bears and the Vikings. Take your pick. Dylan Cease, very good pitcher, 4-3 with a 4.18 for the White Sox. Sonny Gray was at Oakland, 4-4 with a 3.16. I like this game under. Cease is good. Gray at the 3.16, over under of 8. Minnesota doesn't seem to hit a lot. Chicago gets base hits a lot. So I look for this game to be low scoring. 2 good pitchers. They're not in Verlander and Scherzer, McCullough, but they're pretty good. Pitt in California, Ryan Boroki, 1-0 with a 4.63 for Pitt. Reed Detmers, 2-6 with the 4.42. Doesn't get run support at 2-6 with the 4.42, gives up a lot of runs. Both of them. I like the over here, over 9. I know Pitt doesn't hit a lot. California does. Over under 9. California. It's hard to bet on a pitcher who's 2-6 with the 4.42 and think, oh, I'm going to win with him. Again, the market, right? The market comes into play in everything we do. Understand that. So let's go over 9, 2, 4.5 pitchers. Then really the question is the bullpen. So these guys, so here's the trick. These guys will go 5 innings, maybe 6. Now you got the bullpen, 6, 7, 8, 9. And how good is the bullpen? And are they going to keep them down? That's the real question. But Pittsburgh had to travel to the West Coast, so they're tired. So I like it over. Houston and Oakland. We got Javier for Houston, 7-1 with the terrible ERA, 4.39 against Paul Blackburn, 1-2 with a 5.48. Let's go over 8. I know Oakland doesn't score a lot, but Houston sure does, and they should light up Blackburn, who's 5.48. But I don't see Javier really shutting down Oakland with his 4.39. So let's go over 8. Again, in the market, this seems much higher, but they're looking at Oakland doesn't hit well, but against this pitcher, they will. And that's what it is. Bobby, what happened there? You got a suspended game? Did yesterday's game suspend, I guess? I don't know. Verlander went the other day. He got us a W. So that's baseball today. So we have two locks, McCullough and Bobby with Scherzer going, Bobby in right field, and under 8 or 9 or whatever. So that's baseball, a little change. Football, again, we're trying to get markets on every team. And we're trying to set, that's why I do my own spread. So when I get Michigan, Ohio State, and the games at Michigan, my line's been Ohio State -7 for 20 years. Michigan's finally back to bowl ball, running the ball. So now the game's in Ann Arbor. Let's see what happens when we get there. But my spread will probably be like Michigan -7. And I'll tell you, this Ohio State coach, you don't have defense, you don't win. That was what the guy before Tressel, the guy from Arizona State, the coach, would go undefeated, and then he'd lose to Michigan. Like he was 1-10 against Michigan. And the reason is he didn't have a defense and he couldn't stop the run. Tim Biakabatuba runs for 330 yards against Ohio State. Are you fucking kidding me? How do you not coach run defense at Ohio State? Surely you have the players, but you go after passing. You're a fucking idiot. This is the key point, is the defense. And Ohio State does not have the defense they've been having. Notre Dame, I think, does. Michigan seems to. We know Georgia will. We know Iowa State, Washington State, Oregon, Iowa, Illinois. I mean, half that side, the Illinois, Iowa, the whole thing is defense, Minnesota. All three of them were under 15 on their defense last year. That's why the Iowa game kept being a 32 over-under, because they would play Illinois and it'd be a 10-7 game, and then they'd play Minnesota and it'd be a 10-7 game, and you wouldn't come close to it. So, but those were very strong defensive teams, and that's really the key to it. I won't talk football now. Well, why don't we talk pro? It's always fun to do that. So let me know if there's a few quarterbacks we're waiting to hear from. So Detroit, KC 6.5, 53, might be 54. Both teams were over last year. And this is what we're trying to establish as the market. What type of team are Detroit and Kansas City? I think Detroit is going to be really hurt by not signing the running back, because he would get you those 1 and 2 yard touchdowns that now they're going to have problems getting. This is not, as Bobby well knows, you cannot just replace him, right? So when Barry left to go to Frisco, Pittsburgh couldn't just replace him. Even though they had Bobby, they couldn't just replace him. You can't just, well, we'll bring up another outfielder and it'll be the same. No, the skill sets are different. The division of labor, right? So Detroit loses a key part in the running back and then drafts some guy at Alabama who couldn't have made the Georgia team. What's going on there? And then they draft a linebacker from Iowa who's really not the player they should have drafted. They should have got the guy out of Iowa State. So they make two mistakes in the draft and everybody thinks their GM's good. Just like there's no recession and inflation's down and everything. So people have reasons for saying it, and it's all bullshit. That's why you have to know. I know there's a recession going on. I know there's high inflation. You can't stop it. You can't. The Titanic hits the iceberg and it's flooding. You can't say, well, we've stopped it. It's not flooding anymore. It's sinking. Right? This is sinking. No matter what you say, Powell, Biden, whoever the fuck, it's hit the iceberg. The water's coming in. You can say it's not sinking. You plugged the hole, but we all know you couldn't have plugged the hole. The only thing that plugs holes are gold, which you're too stupid to understand. You go with the Keynesian communist point of view. Good luck. Good luck seeing how that works. So again, what I do week 1 and week 2, maybe even week 3, is I try to understand the team's market. And by that, I mean Kansas City's an over team. They score a lot. Their defense is okay, but not great. Maybe in a big game, it gets a little bit better against the pass, but maybe not against the run. Detroit still has a weak defense, but I think their offense is going to get hurt from not signing the running back. That's a wait and see. So I don't know. I thought this game would be over, but as I'm thinking, and I don't know that Detroit is an over team this year based on losing that running back that scored 17 touchdowns. You're not replacing him with Montgomery. You're certainly not replacing him with the Alabama guy who is not a good runner at Alabama. So will they be able to score Detroit? They don't have receivers, just McLeod or St. James or whatever the guy's name is, St. Cloud. The kid from Alabama who didn't know he couldn't gamble, because nobody knows that, he's suspended for 7 weeks. So what do you got going on there? Not that he's any good anyway. I mean, they're good at Alabama when they're playing Arkansas State, but in the pros, the secondary are just as fast as they are. And you look at all the Alabama guys that don't do shit in the pros. A little bit for Waddle, for a little bit when he got Hill, and a little bit for this Devon Smith at Philadelphia because he got A.J. Brown. But he doesn't really – he's no Jerry Rice. So that's how I view it. So we'll see what happens. But I think KC might win this game very easily with all the changes in Detroit. They still don't have a defense. And now they've gone to losing a running back who gained 17 touchdowns, and you lose them. You don't just replace them with a guy at Alabama who couldn't make the Georgia team. So that's my point. I think Detroit wins it easy. So as I'm reading into it and looking at these acquisitions, I'm starting to adjust. I don't think Detroit. I think their defense will still suck. I'm not sure their offense will be any good. Atlanta, Carolina, Atlanta 3 under. They've added Bijan Robinson, which I thought's a stupid move unless they're planning on running a wishbone. You've got Ritter, the quarterback from Cincinnati, who I think is pretty good. Carolina, I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. If it's the guy from Alabama, they're in big trouble. If it's not, they're in big trouble because they don't have a quarterback. They have a little bit of a defense, not much of an offense. This should be an under because to me this is Army-Navy. Atlanta's just going to run the ball down their throat, and Carolina is not going to do a whole lot. They'll probably have to run it back because they don't have a quarterback to light it up. So 2 bad quarterbacks. I look for the under here. Houston, Baltimore, I love the under here. You got Lamar against who for Houston? It's either Mills or it's going to be Richardson. Either one sucks. So look for a shutout here by Baltimore. 17-0, something like that. Should be low scoring. Cincinnati, Cleveland. Cincinnati 2.5, 47. Very simple. You take Joe Burrow. Very simple. This line should be 7. Is 2.5. We get 3.5 and Joe Burrow. I don't get why the spread's so low. Deshaun Watson was good 5 years ago. Deshaun Watson last year is not good. He sat out for 2 years, and you cannot just sit out for 2 years and come back like nothing's changed. This is football. This is timing and everything. So I look for Cincinnati to win this game. Jacksonville, Indy. Trevor Lawrence against who for Indy? C.J. Stroud, really? If it is, this is probably – I don't know what to do. This is an over game with 2 normal quarterbacks, which you don't have one normal quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, terrible, runs too much. Okay, maybe they get 20 points. Indy, if you got C.J. Stroud, they're going to get shut out. What are you doing here? So hard to play Jacksonville on the road at Indy. Indy's going to run the ball a lot more. So I would go over, but Indy doesn't have a quarterback, and they're going to probably have to run the ball. So it's a real tough one. I don't know who this coach is, Steichen. I rated him an E. Peterson, I don't think's all that good, but okay. He got lucky to win the division because Tennessee fumbled the ball because the quarterback got blindsided because you couldn't read the blitz. This is the NFL. So, again, it's really difficult. I got to study this to get the market of these teams. Tampa Bay, Minnesota, we got mini 6.5, 46. Tampa's terrible. I'm hoping Trask is their quarterback. He's very good. With Brady, he's obviously, they should have got him in a few games in mop-up time, but they were so bad last year that they didn't. So we'll see, but he's very good. Minnesota at home. Now they don't have Cook, but they got Matheson and they got Jefferson and they got Cousins. So I look at Minnie, not much of a defense. Tampa had a defense, but I don't know if anybody's still there. So I like Minnesota to win the game at home. I'll take Cousins and Jefferson, but they could very easily lose it. But I'm not expecting Tampa to be any good this year. So they could lose it to a good team, but I don't think they lose it to Tampa. I'm just betting that Tampa's that bad this year. Tennessee, New Orleans 4-42. You got Derek Carr for New Orleans. We don't know who Tennessee's quarterback is. They're going to play good defense. They're going to be an under team. So I like this game under 42 to under 48. New Orleans is not going to light it up. Is Kamara playing? Is Thomas playing? There's stars on offense. So you got Carr, a lot of interceptions. I don't know. And Tennessee with the good defense. So I think this should be low scoring. Frisco Pitt, Frisco 3, 42.5. Brock Purdy. I'm anticipating, and Pitt has Pickett. Pickett's not going to do anything against this defense, and Purdy's not going to do much against this defense. So this is where you take the defenses. Now, here's where the market, 42.5 over under. This is where I'm going, okay, this is a good under point. Had it been 35, I couldn't play it under, but at 42.5, certainly I like it under. So that makes that an under. Because of the line, the market, anything over 40 is an under here. Arizona, Washington. Washington 6 and 40.5. I don't know either quarterback. We know Murray's not quarterbacking, and we know Wentz is not. I don't even think is in the league. I again think this is under. Where's Arizona going to score? And they've switched coaches, so now they got Gannon. So before they had the Texas Tech guy who never won in college. They make him a head coach, and he doesn't win in the pros. So their whole offense changed from the air raid to whatever this new one is. And then Washington is a defensive coach. They don't score a lot. So this is another beautiful under for week 1. Green Bay and the Bears 1.5, 44.5. We got Love against Fields. I don't know how happy they are with Love. I don't think he's any good because he had the terrible year his senior year after a great year his junior year. Well, wait a minute. If you're Tom Brady, you have a good year every year, or Montana, he didn't have a bad year. So I don't know what to think of Love. I like the over if Love's any good, but we don't know that. We don't know Green Bay's market right now, right? We're trying to figure out what's the right price for Green Bay. They got Love. Where does he sit? Can I sell him for $10 or do I got to go to $2? That's what the market's saying here is what is Green Bay's market? Are they an over team or an under team? Can they score, or is this Love going to be terrible? Do I take Green Bay in 7.5, or do I take the Bears at home? Or do I go over because the Bears score a lot with Fields and they have no defense, and Green Bay has an average defense, nothing special. Are they going to put up 20? So we don't know what Green Bay is. They should put up 20 on the Bears. The Bears put up 20 on the Packers. We got over under 44.5 goes down to 38.5. So now we're over 38.5. Probably still doable, but how good's love? We know Field stinks. So it's a real tough game to go over when you don't have a quarterback on the field. Oakland, Denver. Denver 3.5, 45. Garoppolo against Russell Wilson. We love Russell Wilson here. Denver at home with Sean Payton. It's not even close. Oakland's terrible. Brady, I thought maybe could play. He's not going to play. So we let's go with Denver at home, like Minnesota. We're betting against Oakland like we're betting against Tampa. Miami, San Diego. Both teams are over. Nothing should have changed. Tagovailoa against Herbert. Still have the receivers. The defenses are average. 49 over 43. I don't think that's a problem. I think this game gets into at least the 50s very comfortably. Philly, New England, two strong defense. The Georgia defense at Philadelphia. I love that. Philly 4, 46.5. Neither team's got a quarterback. I got to love the under here. Just two strong defenses. I don't see New England doing anything on Philly. And then Philly, this is where Belichick will design his defense to stop Hurts or stop the receivers or whatever the fuck he's going to do. They lost their running back to another team, Philadelphia. So I definitely like this game under all the way. LA and Seattle. Seattle 5.5, 46. There's Smith against Stafford. Let's see who's playing for the Rams. Stafford, Kupp, and Aaron Donald. If they are, then I like the Rams. If they're not, I like Seattle. Dallas and the Giants. Dallas 346. Prescott against Jones. No quarterback. Good defense for Dallas. Giants, who knows? You got Barkley, and with Jones, they'll run. So there'll be a lot of running going on in the game for the Giants. So, again, it's an over 40 game, but Dallas has a real good defense. So this is a sticky one. I can't play Dallas as a road favorite. I can't trust Prescott. He'll throw his 2-3 interceptions, especially week one. This is a tough one. At first, I thought over 40, but now I don't know. So I got to come back to that one. I got to try to figure out Dallas's market and the Giants. Well, the Giants, I know, is just a running team and no defense. Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo 247. We love the Jets, Jets. You got the Aaron Rodgers offense with the Sully defense, or Saleh defense, the San Francisco. So you're running Green Bay's offense and 49ers defense. Yeah. Who's going to beat you? And they're a home dog. Why are they a home dog? They should be a 3-point favorite here. See, this is where the market's fucked up. In the real world, in the professor's world, the Jets with Rodgers and the defense, it's not the same team as last year. They almost beat Buffalo twice last year, losing by 5 or 6 points with White as quarterback. Now you got a whole different team, but they're not priced right. My game, this should be Jets -3. But they got Buffalo -2. Are you kidding me? So Buffalo -2, I don't quite understand. I love the Jets in 8. I mean, because if they're down, Rodgers is going to tie up the game. If they're up, they're going to stay up with Rodgers, and the defense is going to shut down Buffalo. I don't care who you are. When you got a defense, look at the Super Bowl with the Niners and the Chiefs. They had 10 points midway through the fourth quarter, and just the meltdown by Shanahan, or they would have won 24-10. They would have held KC to 10 points. A broken play, then blitz, a great route and a great catch by by Hill. But basically it was a miracle that KC got more than 10 points in the game. So a good defense, Pete. Look at Georgia against Alabama, gave them 14 points. TCU, they shut them out. They shut out Michigan the year before. I think they got 7. A good defense will always shut down a good offense, just like Verlander and Scherzer and McCullough will shut down a good batting, a good hitting team. So here are the Jets with the better offense, the better defense, and they're getting points at home. So I like that. So anyway, that's week one. We'll start. We got a while till we post the picks. Let's look at next week. I think is the next week is the whatchamacallit, the I think it's the Hall of Fame game. So we won't get much flavor, but we are looking for who the quarterbacks are in like Washington, Arizona. I assume whoever their quarterback's going to be is going to play in the preseason game, even if it's one or two series. So we'll get a feeling for the starters there. Otherwise, so we talked a lot about markets and pissing people off and Say's Law and the haircut with the steaks, with the Budweiser. So all that is very simple to understand. We are the market, the individual. Now they can try to go communist on us, but you can see what happens. Here's Budweiser, and they try to fuck around with us, and we say no. That gives me a good confidence that all this communist crap they're trying to pull on us, CBDCs, we're all going to say fuck you to that. Everybody's scared. Oh, it's going to come. It's going to come. It doesn't matter. It's going to come like Bitcoin. If you don't want it, you're not going to take it. You don't need to take it. So you're not going to, right? You're still going to get, your company's going to pay you in dollars and you're going to have dollars. And people can say, oh, no, it's Bitcoin or it's going to be CBDCs. No, it's not. You got to have money. You can't have digital money. You can have I still need money and my debit card because I got to put money in the bank to handle the debit cards. When I go buy gold, they will take money. I guarantee it. Nobody's not going to take money. Now, they might make money worthless. Then they'll have new money. You have to have something. So if we compare this to the Titanic, you have to have a boat to get the people across. You can't do it electronically. You have to have planes to fly me from here to Amsterdam. You got to have the plane. You can't do it digitally. You can't just transport me to Amsterdam. You still got to have a plane. You still got to have a boat. You still need money. You can't get away from this. You can't do it digitally without anything else. You still need purchases made with money. You cannot get around the medium of exchange. It can't be electric only. You can have digital, like you have crypto now. There's Bitcoin, but I don't have any. I don't need it. There's the dollar. Now I need gold. It's still physical. I don't have digital gold. You don't want digital gold. You need the real McCoy. But I mean, so if I get out of this for gold, I've got physical gold. That's the point. So I still have the physical. You are never getting rid of the medium of exchange. The Romans tried. Well, I mean, the Romans went from gold coins to copper coins, and look what happened to them. So you can't just say, well, we're not going to have dollars anymore. It's going to be CBDC. You're going to have CBDC like you have Bitcoin, and that'll be your choice. But that's really central bank to bank. That is not public. So nobody, this is like Budweiser. If nobody accepts it, there's no market, you can't do it. So Budweiser can keep trying to sell their beer, but if they can't move it off the shelf, guess what? They go out of business because they got to pay for the horses and the plants and everything else and the salaries. And if you're not making sales, how are you going to pay for everything? So it's the same thing. If there's no demand for CBDCs, you can't have it. Well, we have CBDCs. Fuck you. I don't want it. And if you don't want it, then what are they going to do with it? Well, it's digital. Well, I don't want digital. Who wants digital money? I want to be able to hold my money. I want to be able to hold my gold. I don't want ETFs. They're bullshit. That Rick Rule guy should be put in jail. And this Sprott guy, all these guys with their ETFs, selling them as if you have gold, misleading the public, should go to jail. It's guys like that I hate because they're lying to the public, and I hate that. It's all made off. It's all you're scamming. Oh, don't worry about the money. Don't worry. And so most people knew it was a scam, but said, well, I'm getting 10%, so I don't care. I'll give you 100 grand. You give me back 10% every month. Fine. I don't care what you do. Just keep giving me the money. And then when you stop giving me the money, then I care what you do. It doesn't work like that. So You got to be smart. So anyway, that's basically what it is. CBDBCs will go the way of Budweiser. No demand, no market, you can't have a product. Electric cars, oh, there's going to be electric cars. No demand, nope. And then they'll have to go out because if nobody buys it, you got to pay your bills, right? So I don't care who you are, Tesla guy or whatever, you got to pay the bills. And guess what? You're not paying it with your own money. If you're not making it with earnings, you're not paying it. There's no margins. They're not making any money. Any idiot that has Tesla stock with interest rates at 10% has no clue what they're doing, and they're going to lose all their money. And if they think, well, I'll buy Tesla because everybody else is and I'll make money, you're fucked. You're going to make the guy, the Attack on Wall Street look like a Disney movie, or look like, I don't want to use that, look like a Pixar movie. That's just ridiculous. I mean, that you're going to lose your ass. You don't know what you're doing. You do not be in car stocks right now with high interest rates. So anyway, we set the market, not the haircut place, not the rib place. They can try, and if they try to fuck with the market always wins, and that's all I can say. So always remember that. The girls are markets. What do they want? What do they see? And you're a market. You're always a market in everything. In poker, they're studying you to figure out what your market is. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to throw them off, thinking, well, my market is this, but it's really not. That's how you play poker, right? I'll show you a bluff, but I'm really not a bluffer. Or I'll show you a full house, but I'm really a bluffer. So you're trying to confuse people on what kind of market you are in poker. Football, we're looking for what the market should be. And of course, in everything else, we're coming up with our market. So yeah, I'll pay $212 for this when it's $350 for the others. That's what the market bears. All right, I think I've had enough. I am going to watch Little British Open, go to the pool, and get my Chinese today. It's Saturday, and then just wait for Thursday for the payday, and off. I need to pay rent, a little bit of gold, and off we go. So just keep buying and buying and buying because you have no risk. It can't go to zero. It never has, never will, because of demand. Look at Budweiser. So you own Budweiser stock. Oh, how am I going to lose? Well, because you got idiots running it. And I translate that to football. When you got idiot coaches, like the Lions coach and the Tigers coach, no wonder your team sucked. You got Lombardi and Bill Walsh. No wonder they won. You had good coaching, leads to winning, leads to good player talent. You got Ronnie Lott and Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Guess what? You're going to win a lot. When you got Larry Moe and Curly, you're not going to win a lot. So it's as simple as that. All right, I'll be back about 11:30 tomorrow. Bobby, have a good day. Nice to see you again. Keanu Reeves, have a nice day. And that's about it. So enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Go get some steaks, ribs, or go get your Bobby, I hope you heal up. The fast should help you. Put it this way. The fast can't hurt you. You do a 2 or 3 day fast. I'd love to see you do 72 hours, but at least if you can skip a day, go to sleep and wake up, it's 44 hours there. That should be good. You want to get over that 18-hour mark, but you want to, once you're over it, do a day over the 18 hours. Let your body heal, but it doesn't start really until 18 hours. But you don't want to do 19, then you've only given it 1 hour of healing. You want to give it another 24. That's why like a 42-hour fast is really good. So if you can just avoid eating Monday, then have Tuesday lunch, then it's 42 hours, and then you'll feel much better. So what's causing the inflammation is probably sugar, and maybe you twisted a muscle. Let it heal. Let your body heal it. Get out of the body's way. Let the little guy inside you heal you. All right. With that advice, have a nice weekend. Take care, everybody. www.teaserking.com. The football is all set to go, and I will talk to you soon. All right. Take care, everybody.